Hello. Hopefully this is working. Let me know if you can actually hear me and see me because I'm seemingly having some issues with the internet. I don't know what's going on with that. So let me know if this is working. But we will start directly off the top of this one because I think there's a lot to discuss in this game and a lot of problems, a lot of issues, a lot of things that need to start going right that aren't going right. Thanks for everybody telling me that it looks good. It should be fine, but I was getting some feedback on the launch, so off we go. Let's start directly off the top. Let's start from the second the puck drops, and maybe even we need to go before that because I don't know how deeply I want to go into morning skate or anything of that sort because it felt a little different, but it also didn't feel enough abnormal that I want to go crazy about it. So to me, I want to mention that is something that I noticed this morning, that it felt different. I've been to a lot of road playoff games. I've been to a lot of road morning skates. I've been to a lot of these situations where they're playing tense, big time games and odd numbered games and games they have to find a way to win. And today felt a bit different. Now, it's always a new team. We have to be aware of that. And I'm not going to say go too deep on that yet. We're going to see where we go moving forward. If you listen to my Twitter space earlier today, there was a little bit of, I was just saying like it was not the same as it has been. The vibe was a little bit more serious than it had been. And I wasn't sure how that was going to go. I'm still not sure how that's going to go moving forward. So let's just get that out of the way. Now let's go directly to puck drop. So the game begins, and on the very first shift, it's kind of a battle of the big guys. I thought it was somewhat of a neutral. I thought as the game moved on, like it started to look like it was maybe going to be okay and things were going to be heading in the right direction. And then the too many men. And the too many men penalty is simply the wrong guy jumping onto the ice. Cassidy confirmed it. I thought it was pretty clear in real time. It's the wrong player jumping onto the ice. And it's disappointing because I think that's not something we see a lot. That's not something that this team is prone to doing. It's not something that a veteran, experienced team that's been in these situations, that's been on the road, they shouldn't do that. 3, 4, whatever it was. How long even was it into the first period? It wasn't far. I know that. It was 2 minutes and 46 seconds in. Like that is what a team that isn't prepared for this moment does. That's what you think maybe like a team with guys playing their first playoff games, and the Golden Knights just have one, and it's now the third playoff game. It's their first road game. But that's what you would think. It's not what happened. Then the penalty kill goes out there, and Kaprizov gets it. He skates around. He makes a play. Hill's screened. He's heading the wrong direction. The puck ends up in the back of the net. And now you've got them in it. Now you've got Minnesota in it with some life. You've got the crowd in it with some life. Basically, the pushback, the thing that you're like, this is what we were expecting to kind of get right on top of them and get ourselves back on the right side of this series immediately, didn't happen. So now there needs to be a bit of a regroup. And as we go forward, there is in many ways. There's a tripping penalty called on Haig, and now you've got to kill another penalty. And to me, that was the moment I thought it started stepping forward. I thought you started to see what Cassidy has been using the word engagement. I thought you started to see them taking the step in the direction that we needed to head. And then it didn't happen. Then they score the second goal. That one came. When did that one come? That one comes at 6:51. It's off of a simple dump in. They throw the puck in deep. Hill goes back to get it. Does not make the right play along the rim, along the wall. Puck ends up back under the goal line, up into the low slot. Theodore's kind of caught in between. Do I go back and make that play? Do I stand in the middle and make that play? Either way, you're kind of in bad shape, and he's probably looking up to the sky thinking, why me again? And now it's 2-0. And now from there, you're really, really up against it. You're officially up against it in the series. You're officially up against it in this particular game. And as much as I want to sit here and tell you that the latter half of the last game and a good chunk of this game, the Golden Knights got the puck in. The Golden Knights had the offensive zone time. They put themselves in positions to get things done. And eventually the wall will crack and they will find ways to score. Time and score matter. And the Golden Knights have been behind for a lot in the last two games. And because of that, Minnesota has been comfortable playing a style where they simply do not want to allow breakaways. They want to keep it to the outside. The things that have worked are continuing to work. And so here we are, where we're going to walk away and say, well, there was a lot of zone time. That's what you told me before the series needed to happen for this team to win the series. And it is happening. But even then, even with that portion saying, if they can get these entries, if they can get this zone time, if the forecheck can come, if the physical presence can be there and force them to make mistakes as well, that should be enough. The problem is it hasn't been. It just hasn't been. You look at the two goals the Golden Knights scored today, two of them. One is just a horrendous goaltender error, horrific goaltender error. That's not an earned shot at all. I'm not even sure Petrangelo's trying to score there. I think he's trying to shoot it off the pad or off the stick and get it to pop out on the other side. It goes in. Now you've got a goal. Now you should be back on track. You should be able to now take the next step of getting in front of the goal, get traffic in front of him, get opportunities directly in front of him. It didn't happen. And so now when you take the fact that they're ceding possession a little bit because they're leading and you're still not getting to the front of the goal, offensively, it becomes a massive, massive concern as we go forward. I have said, and I will continue to say, and I said it a number of times on whether it was the 3 takeaways or I've said it in a couple of other tweets or whatever that I've put out, I don't think the Golden Knights are in any way dead in this series. Like, no, not a chance. They're not dead. I think that they are up against it. I think that the next game is for their season, and we have not seen a lot of those early in series. Like, you think back, there's like a game 3 against Colorado, clearly was for their season. All of the game 7s are there, but that's deeper into the series where you know a little bit more. Maybe like even the Vancouver one wasn't like we haven't seen a lot of these. Washington potentially. I don't want to go back to that one. That one wasn't fun. So you look at all of this and you say, okay, is there going to be that level of pushback? And the challenge that I think is going to face every single question or every single thought you have about this series for the next day and a half until 3 p.m. local time here, 1 p.m. at home on Saturday is how do they find a way to get scoring from the best two players, from the guy with the C on his jersey and the guy with the A on his jersey. Jack Eichel and Mark Stone have to find ways to generate more offense. And if that doesn't happen, they will indeed lose a series that they were just a few days ago minus 660 to win. In other words, you needed to bet $660 at the William Hill mobile sports app to win $166 won 10 like 3 days ago. They were in firm control, expected to win. They were minus 170 in this game. We're there because the Golden Knights offense is not coming from the guys it has to come from. Of course, the rest of the guys can chip in. You could get something from Pavel at even strength. You could get something from Carlson and Smith at even strength and not rely on an error that, again, Minnesota makes. I have no idea what they're doing up 4-1, attacking that puck. No clue. However, it leads to a breakaway, and what a job by Smith and Carlson. Like, hell of a job to finish that thing off. The job for Carlson to get it across, the situation to put it in, like, undresses Gustafsson, awesome, like, great. But then you get all the power plays. It's what, 2 of them, 3? I don't even remember. So many. How many was it down the stretch? It's 2. 2 power plays down the stretch, one of which half of it's a 6-on-5, and you can't do it. And I think the sticks are being gripped very, very hard from the most important players. And I don't like to go nuts about it because we can do however we want to do it. However, captain didn't speak, goalie that got pulled didn't speak, best player on the roster didn't speak after the game. It was William Karlsson and Ivan Barbashev that spoke. Both of them were excellent. Good on them for both stepping up in those situations. Barbashev had a much better game. Good job for that. However, the captain of the team, the alternate captain of the team, I need those guys out there. I need those guys explaining what's going on, giving people hope that they're going to find it out and figure it out. And we didn't get that. We just didn't get that today. I have so much more to talk about. This Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you by the Jimmerson Law Firm. I heard like a curtain or something. I thought there was like a gate. I'm gonna get locked in here. I'm gonna have to sleep here until Saturday at 3 o'clock. Nonetheless, this Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you by the Jimmerson Law Firm. The Jimmerson Law Firm has Las Vegas' preeminent law firms specializing in high-stakes business, civil, and family matters. When winning matters, seek out the Jimmerson Law Firm. And winning does matter. Gonna have to find a way to win more of these. It's now 2-1. Golden Knights are behind in the series, behind in the last 2 games. I don't even think they were dominant in game 1. I watched game 1 again, and I thought, uh-oh, Minnesota's up for this thing. Minnesota's in this thing. That game could have gone the other way. The last 2 couldn't. I don't think the Golden Knights are better so far in this series, and they have to find a way to get themselves to it. Let's talk about the goalie pull, because I think the goalie pull creates more problems than it solved. And I don't understand it. I don't like it. I don't think it was the right thing to do. So the game's 4-1. Okay. The 4th goal, which occurs directly on, no, I guess we need to talk about the icing first, because that's probably a better topic to talk about before I get to the goalie pull. Let's talk about the icing. So it's the 3rd goal. Golden Knights are starting to do more, starting to push back. Now, I tweeted out the grid that shows where the shots are coming from, and that was at the end of the 2nd period. And at the end of the 2nd period, the Golden Knights had about 1 shot from directly in front of the goal, or at least in whatever you would call the home base, home plate, house, whatever we're calling that area, the area in which you score in the postseason. The Golden Knights had 1 shot from that. Maybe you get 2, maybe you call it 3 from just off the edge. Not enough. But okay, they're coming along, they're getting there, they're getting the forecheck's working, you're getting more zone time, you're putting yourself in a position that maybe things are going to start going your way. Puck is cleared out of the defensive zone. Pietrangelo reaches for it. I'm sitting basically directly in line with it. I saw him reach for it, and immediately the linesman waved it off. It looked to me like he had touched it, so I know there's a few replies of me out there saying that I thought he touched it. I have now seen the replays a number of different times. It is very clear he did not. That is clearly icing. However, so we've done this before. We've been down this path before. I will stick with what I've said in the past, which is when a blown call happens, what happens directly after it, it's very difficult. It's a tough pill to swallow. Major penalty, game 7, they score 4 goals. Tough pill to swallow. Probably doesn't happen at that. In this case, the call doesn't happen. But what did happen was it was waved off very early, really early. And what happens is now Hanifin goes back, and Hanifin did not think it was icing. He probably in his mind thought this is icing. That is icing. They should call this. However, he heard no icing. He goes back on that puck knowing they're not stopping this play. It's not like he was caught by surprise. It's not like anything. It's a 2-on-1 going back. Vegas has 2 sticks, 2 guys, Pietrangelo and Hanifin, 2 of their better skaters, in a great position to get that out. Instead, Boldy comes, picks the pocket, walks out in front, and scores. Now, can Hill do better on that? Yeah, but that's a tough spot to be in. We shouldn't even be in that spot. Nonetheless, icing's there. It's a terrible call. It's a missed call. It's a mistake that happened. However, that play has happened too often, even on plays that aren't icing. So that moment is a rep in this series that we should be able to look at and say, okay, yeah, that should not have occurred. Maybe you even want to rip that goal off the board. Even if you do that, it's still 5-4-2. They still never got across the board. It was 3. Like, they never tied the game. They didn't get there. Either way, that's a rep that you have to make. It can't be those mistakes. It was those mistakes in game 2. It's those mistakes in game 3. There was a bit of those mistakes in game 1 that did not get punished. That's what has been occurring. And yes, that's a terrible call. That is a situation that the play should be dead. However, the play went on, the players knew the play went on, and they still failed to do what they needed to do in that situation. That moment, Matt Bolby attacking a guy on a forecheck is killing the Golden Knights. They're getting crushed by it. Boldy and Kaprizov have 8 goals. 8 goals. It's been 3 games. They have 8 goals. The Golden Knights have 8 goals total. Boldy and Kaprizov have 8. All right, back to the goalies. So, first goal, Hill is screened. He's moving the wrong way. Hill is screened. Okay, what do you want to make of that one? That's on you. I think there is an ability to work through screens. I think some guys are better at it. However, when there's that many players in front, they have one of their best players with the puck. He gets all this time and space to skate all the way around. I know you're killing a penalty. Puck gets put on the goal. They're going to go in sometimes. Okay, it's early in the game. All right, second one. He rims the puck around. This is one of Hill's strengths. One of the things Hill has been good at, one of the things that makes him a goalie that we want in the goal is that he can go back out and he can find ways to go behind the goal, make the play, get the puck out. He makes the wrong decision in that situation, and then it's botched from there. Puck goes around the boards. It's botched now. Now you're in a bad spot. Somebody has to do something. Theodore's not able to do something. No one else is back to help out. He can't make the stop. He makes the play that causes him to have a situation where he's looking at a very, very, very difficult save to make. It's not the save. It's not the lack of save. It was the play. Third goal, guy comes out from underneath the goal. You don't expect that to even be a turnover at all. He's looking right at it, so he knows that it is. Comes out, kind of leaves off the post. Guy makes a good play again, and away we go. Now it's 3. The fourth one, there's nothing there. There's nothing he could do. 7 seconds, they chuck a shot in from the half wall, literally against the wall. It goes off of Kaprizov's dick and right into the goal. Off, like, what are you going to do? 1.3 seconds. I mean, there's an argument to be made that maybe the 5'8", or I don't even think he's 5'8". I haven't had a chance to stand next to him yet, but he's a little guy. Let's maybe not leave him in the paint, okay? But it's not like a high-skilled play. It's not anything. That's clock. They chuck a puck towards the goal. It goes in. Nothing the goalie can do there. All right, but let's get to the goalie change. So now you've taken your goalie out, okay? You've now said to your starting goalie, you've lost this game. We're done. We can't come back, because if you truly believe you're coming back, you would not put the AHL backup into the goal instead of Adin Hill. You wouldn't do it. If you think you have a great chance to come back, you wouldn't do it. You're clearly looking forward. And Cassidy's answer was looking forward. He mentioned the game being at 3 o'clock. He mentioned potentially there being a skate tomorrow that they want to get to, and Hill needs to get in a skate. He mentioned getting Akira Schmid some work. It's game 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you're about to be down. Why are we trying to get backup goalies work? I don't understand that. However, push that one aside for a second. So we've now, we're all forward thinking. This move is not made in we're coming back in this game. However, what occurs and what sets up now is now Akira played better, air quotes, than Adin Hill in this game. Adin wasn't particularly great in the last game. So now you've got Akira having a pretty good period. And all of a sudden, now there's pressure behind the starting goalie that came into this postseason for the first time in his career with no pressure on him. All of a sudden, you've created something that did not need to be created. I understand the tangible benefits that you can get to Akira Schmid going in there. However, if Akira Schmid needs to play for an extended period in this postseason, this team will not overcome it. So the only thing that matters when it comes to goaltending is what is best for Adin Hill. If that was the answer, if the answer was we were doing everything in our power to make sure that Adin Hill is at his best Saturday at 3 p.m., I would have accepted it a little bit more. That was a part of the answer, but not all of it. That was not the first portion of the answer. Don't understand at all opening that door. Say the Golden Knights come back and win. Say one of those power play goals goes in, then they pull the goalie, they get the 6-on-5. Now we're into overtime at 4-4. Is Akira Schmid in the goal at overtime at 4-4? Is that the plan? Like, is that what we're doing? I don't know. They're going to put Hill back in? I doubt it. So now he goes in, and either one of two things happens. Now, we end up in a situation where you could say, well, that none of this happened, so I don't even know why you're talking about it. But say it did. And the reason I put this in is because this is the only other scenario that could have potentially happened. He could have come in and been a complete disaster, I guess, which in theory would have solved one of the question marks. And I don't even know that we needed a answer to this question, which is who is better between Samsonov and Schmid. If Schmid was a complete train wreck in this game, maybe we have our answer. Now it's easier. That didn't happen. That's the other scenario. But the scenario you're hoping for, the scenario you want to happen, the best case thing to happen in this particular game is Schmid comes in. Now you get to overtime. Let's say we get to overtime. Stops all the shots. It's 4-4. We get to overtime. Either he stays in and loses the game for you, and now you've decided to look forward on a game that wasn't dead and you gave that up, or he makes a play and steals the game and wins you a miraculous game in overtime. Probably, I know people are saying Hill's going back in. I completely agree that Hill's going back in. No, I am not saying that Adin Hill is a mental midget and cannot deal with pressure. No, none of that. What I'm saying is it was an unnecessary situation to put anyone in. This was avoidable. You don't have to open this door. We don't have to be thinking about backup goalie. Adin can get his work in that game. If you're punting on the game, which in many ways you officially are in that situation, let him go get his work. Let him figure out what he needs to figure out and remain the clear starter in this situation. If something happens in the next game and they stink in front of him, and it's 4-0 in the first period, every single person in the world is going to be saying, I wonder if they're going to go to Akira Schmid here. And that is not what you want. You paid the goalie to be your starter for an extended period of time. You put yourself in a position that this is your guy. And now, in a moment where you create madness and chaos for no reason at all. No reason. I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, the only focus, we've done this before, the only focus is what is best for Marc-Andre Fleury. That's what it was for years, and it went great. Then you create Robin Lehner coming in, and you have problems, and now there are issues, and you end up having problems because that's how this position works. Is there actually a goalie controversy right now? No, there is not. However, we are closer to it today because of the decisions that were made than we were like 4 hours ago before he started the third period. That's what I want to say on that. Don't like the idea. Don't understand why they would do that. Don't think there should have been anything that has anything to do other than Adin Hill has to get exactly what Adin Hill needs. And that was part of it. That was brought up. Adin Hill is going to need a work day tomorrow. It looks like they're going to skate tomorrow. We'll see. If they do skate tomorrow, Adin Hill's going to get a full practice in. Okay, if that's the plan, that's it. That's all you need to say. Okay, moving forward. On to other things. I said this before the game. I will continue to say it as we move forward. This simple idea that we're going to stop making mistakes when Boldy, Eriksson Ek, and Kaprizov are on the ice, and that's just going to be okay. That's not realistic. That's probably not going to happen. They're very good. The Golden Knights got rid of a lot of their excellent defensive forwards along the wall. The Golden Knights got rid of one of their best defensive defensemen in Alec Martinez. I understand why. I'm not saying they should have kept him. I'm just saying when they were on their cup run, when they were a lockdown defensive team that doesn't allow 5 goals in back-to-back games in a playoff series against a team that doesn't even really score and doesn't have a good power play, now you're in that situation. I don't know that you can simply say that line won't hurt us. That line's not going to do anything as we move forward. I think there has to be a change in what they're doing. I think there has to be a new plan in how they attack and how they go about dealing with those guys when they're on the ice, because they've been too impactful and it's been too consistent. That's been the problem for me. It's gone on too long. The moment they need any sort of offense, those guys go over the board and make it happen. That's what happens. So to me, that's a problem. And like Everett says, the stats when Boldy and Kirill were on the ice were insane. I think it was like 12 shots to nothing or something like that. Eichel and Stone are a -2. They're getting smoked by those guys. It has to be a group effort. It has to be a simplified game. It has to be treating them as if they are the line in Edmonton. And even that was like, we need everybody to just get through this. And they're not playing that way. They're just not. And I don't think you can just sit there and say, well, stop making mistakes. Stop doing things that are the problem. Stop turning the puck over when Boldy's down there and there should have been called icing. Yeah, that'd be great. But it's too far in. It's not going to happen. They're going to keep making some of these mistakes. It's going to be a problem. All right, could they bring in Pearson? I've heard some Pearson stuff. I've heard some Korzak stuff. Like, in what way is the 12th forward, not to yell at you, Karen, but I'm going to yell at you, Karen. In what way is the 12th forward the problem here? In what way is the guy that you're going to take out and the upgrade that you're going to get, which I don't even believe is the case. Nonetheless, I will continue talking about it. If you bring in another player, what upgrade is it? And how is that? Yeah, sorry, Karen's catching strays. I agree. Sorry. And it's not just Karen saying it. I've heard it. I've heard it on the broadcast. I've heard it. Like, the problem is simple, people. The problem is very simple. Mark Stone does not have a point. Jack Eichel does not have a point. Mark Stone has 0 assists in 10 consecutive playoff games. 0 assists in 10 consecutive playoff games. That is the answer. What needs to happen to get those guys more chances, more opportunities? And I don't have it because I am not a Stanley Cup champion winning coach who is paid incredibly handsomely and has much better suits and ties than I have. I don't like suits and ties. I'm not Bruce Cassidy. He has to figure it out. I will tell you that over the course of the entire season, all year long, from training camp to a week before the playoffs, I said it over and over and over again. Can we please get repetition with players on different lines? Can we take a look at what does it need to look like if those guys don't play together? Never happened. Now, there was reasons why it didn't happen. I'm not saying there weren't. There were injuries. There were situations where they weren't playing well at different times, and you'd like to have it. Barbashev's out, Stone's out, Eichel missed towards the end, Carlson missed, so you didn't have the opportunity to do that. But now, here we are. Break glass in case of emergency. You break the glass, you look in there, and there's nothing in there. I wish there was actually a break glass in case of emergency thing right here, but it's actually just a dead wall. So that's disappointing. It's not there. They don't have the answer. Like, you could put Stone with Carlson, but then what's Eichel going to have? And then what's the defensive plan, especially in the road game, especially in game 4, where you have to win that game here. So if you put Carlson and Stone together, guess what? They see none of Boldy, Eriksson Ek, and Kaprizov. So that is challenging, because what does it look like? Has Barbashev been good enough with Eichel that we feel comfortable that you can throw up another winger with them? And it would have to be probably Brett Howden playing out of position if it's going to be that guy. And even then, yes, he got the breakaway. But other than that, do you remember him doing all that much in this particular game? No, Kolazar was better on that line. And they were quiet today outside of the breakaway. That's something I'm probably going to have to ask tomorrow. Can the team score a breakaway? Like, you're back in the game if you score that one. You finally caught him. You finally have the opportunity up the middle where they make the mistake, the one thing they're trying to not do, and we've been talking about it for 2 days. They're trying to not allow anything up the middle. And instead, what happens? They get it up the middle. We have the breakaway, and they don't score the breakaway. And that's been an ongoing problem. Can't score breakaways, and that's huge. Like, it probably changes game 1, makes game 1 a little bit easier. It certainly would have changed this game because it would have made it 3-2. You're back in it with plenty of time. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. However, like, all right, so let's go through this plan. So you want Stone, Sod, and Howden. Okay. So it would actually be, well, all right, so Howden's in the center, Sod's on the left, Stone's on the right. Okay. So now you have to take someone out of someone else out of center, which is probably Wah. Wah is not nearly as good on the wing as he is. So there's a trickle down effect in the fact that you don't have that, because you're now going to have Eichel, Howden, Carlson, Hurdle. So Hurdle's going to be another center. All right. So we're taking Wah out of center there. Then we also now have to figure out something that's going to work with Hurdle, which Pavel has been all right in this series. And I do maybe need to at some point say, what does it look like with him not shooting it every single time he touches the puck? How does that go? But okay, so you got to find someone there. I think that line's been one of the better ones. They've been one of the ones that actually is willing to go to the front. So now we've broken that up. We got to find a winger that goes there. We now have to find someone else to go up with Eichel, because it's Barbashev and Eichel, and somebody else has to go up there. Is that Smith? I don't know. Nobody's scoring. No one's scoring. So even no matter how you look at it, it's hard. And the challenge is, and I said this before, the issue is you don't have something to fall back on. As great as it was to enter this postseason in a way that's different than what we saw last year, or even probably 2 years ago when Stone was not in the lineup and hadn't played a ton, is you come in with this plan and this setup of we know exactly what our pairs look like. We know exactly what our lines look like. This is the best we've got since the deadline. And then you run into problems and there's no other answer and there's no other way to go. And I don't know what he's going to do. And you say, like, is there going to be lineup changes? Probably. It's hard to believe you're just going to roll it right back out. Like, is that the plan? I don't know. And they're in a situation where now you need everybody. You need your scorers to start scoring. You need your centers to start winning pucks in deeper. You need your defensemen to stop turning the puck over. You need your coach to figure out answers that are better than what the other coach, who isn't any good, is doing to you so far. That's where we're at. We are there. Because right now, understand this. Game 4 is the season. That's really all there is to it. If they lose game 4, they will have lost 2 home games in a row or 2 road games in a row. They will have lost 3 games in a row in the series. They're probably done. That's probably it. It's just going to be awfully difficult in a series against a team that is obviously not as unevenly matched as maybe we thought at the beginning. It's not going to happen. But if you win game 2, now you're back in a situation where it's a best of 3. But you got to be the better team in the best of 3. So not only do you have to figure it out for next game and put yourself in a position where you win that game, get the bounces, get whatever you need to win that game, but then also beyond that, you're going to have to now win 2 of 3 from there. So you have to have more answers beyond just things are going to go our way in this particular game. And what's crazy is today we finally get the power plays. You finally have the game. We've been saying that the whole time. Well, they're not calling penalties. And because they're not calling penalties, we don't get the advantage that we normally have, which is their penalty kill sucks, their power play sucks, our power play's excellent, our penalty kill's been much better since we got Riley Smith. 4 away today. Golden Knights lose 2-1 in the battle. 2 power play goals for them, both of them by Kaprizov. 1 shorthanded in a situation where it's so late in the game that it almost didn't really matter. It did. It got them a little nervous. Even then, it's like now you've given them more confidence that they can find a way. And this is an excellent point. I miss being a 5-on-5 dominant team. That's spot on. That is spot on, because they're not at the moment. And against good teams this season, they haven't necessarily been. It's not like they've been bad. And in this series, they're not bad. They're not getting whipped off the ice in this series. They're just not. But at the same time, the things that have to happen to make you have that ability to win a game like this, to overcome a deficit like this, to finally have a game where Minnesota leads in the third and doesn't walk away with a win. They are undefeated, 0 losses, 0 overtime losses when they lead in the third. You gotta have it tied at least by the end of the second. Otherwise, you're in big, big trouble. To do that, you have to get 5-on-5 scoring directly in front of the goal. You're not going to get rush chances in this series. It's not going to happen. And now we talk about physicality. The Golden Knights had 42 hits today. They had something like 56 in the first two games combined. So now physicality. All right, we upped the physicality. It maybe offered you a better chance at forechecking. You probably did turn them over a little bit more on forechecking. But in the end, what does that mean? It means we have the puck, but we have to do something with it. And they never did. They never actually did. And that's where we're at now. So moving forward, probably you want to make some changes. The problem with the line changes is I don't think they have answers. I think you're grasping. Any move you make, you're grasping. You can flip Barbashev and Howden. Okay. You could potentially put someone else next to Carlson and move Olofsson into a different spot. Okay. Maybe you can make those moves. But Hertl, not really another option. There really isn't. He wasn't particularly great before early in this season when they were trying to figure it out. You know you probably can't use him as a winger. You also know you probably can't use Nick Waugh as a winger because you've tried that a number of times and that doesn't work. So there's just not enough moving pieces. And part of that is because when you look at the group and you look at the overall, what is this team? What do we have here? There's a lot of players that kind of fall into a bucket as opposed to being an all-around player like they've had in the past. The Chandler Stevenson type, where you can trust him to defend, you can trust him with speed, you could trust him in the zone, you could trust him to make passes, you could trust him to score, he can penalty kill, he's on the power play. Like now, Olofsson's more of a specialized player. Dorofiev's more of a specialized player. Smith is more of a specialized player. Saad is more of a specialized player. Pearson, the guy maybe you want to bring in, is more of a specialized player. Like the Howden and Kolazars, they're in a better position, but you also have those guys who both signed $2.5 million contracts, which pretty clearly indicates we don't expect 30 goals from those players moving forward. So to put them up and say we're going to play them 20 minutes a night is probably unrealistic. So there's just not a lot of options. All right, Karen, this is a good question. What's going on with Kolazar? I think Kolazar has been pretty good. I think Kolazar has been basically what Keegan Kolazar is in a series like this. He's getting in on the forecheck. He's helping get pucks back. He has not made I don't believe he's made a single step wrong defensively. I don't think he's lost a wall battle in the offensive zone either, or in the defensive zone coming out. He's doing the job he's supposed to do. The problem is he's not a 30-goal scorer. He's not a 20-goal scorer. He's probably not even however many goals he had this year. It's just not what it's supposed to be. So even though you go through the year and you're like, wow, we're the third highest scoring team in the league, start looking at the red flags that I've been telling you all along. A lot of it's on the power play, not getting the power play, or the power play has an off day, and you lose. And you can only afford X amount of losses. It's 4, in fact. And we're already at 2. So it's like that group where you look at the Cup team. The Cup team had specialized players in a guy like Kessel, and a guy like a Bluger, and a guy even probably like a Cotter, who did have some offensive touch, but also had that little bit of physicality. Maybe he's not even as much, but he wasn't a penalty killer. But instead, it's guys like a Matteo, guy like a Carrier, who was scoring in that particular postseason. A guy like, obviously, Marchessault, specialized player, however, a specialized player that has the ability to play up the lineup. It's tricky. It's tricky now with the group that they have because there's not a lot of pieces you can move around. There's not a lot of options. The simple fact is 9 has to be better. 61 has to be better. Whoever's playing with them has to score. Goals. We need goals from the guy playing with 9 and 61. If you break them up, we need goals from the guy playing with number 9. Unless number 9 wants to get the job done himself, which also would be nice, but he's not a great superstar goal scorer. That's not his work. That's not what he does. So that has been and is a concern moving forward, is who's going to do it. And so away we go with not having options. Who else can play top line minutes? Think about it. Think about who, if you're going to play Eichel and Stone 22 minutes, I think they played 24 tonight. A lot of power plays at the end, 6-on-5 time, whatever. Numbers got a little goofy. However, you want to play them a significant amount of money. Who's supposed to go there? And yeah, okay, so it's Pavel. And that's probably all right. But now you're hamstringing Hertl. You're hamstringing what Barbashev's impact. You're not probably taking as much advantage of Howden's impact. Like, I think every trickle down is that all the way, there's just not enough players to fill the important roles at this time of year. It doesn't mean they're dead. Let me get back on the positive train because I've been a little negative here. I've been yelling and getting a little angry here. I'll try to get a little bit more positive. Here's the positive news. When we came into this series, the one thing that I really wanted to see was I wanted to see Vegas be able to get through the neutral zone, get the puck in deep, and grind on this defense. It's a defense that is solid, but not excellent. They are prone to errors. They have a young kid in there that I don't think is even going to be in there next game because he's been a bit of a problem. They're doing that portion of it. So and arguably that's the harder portion against this team. Finding the space through the middle, getting yourself into the zone. Now, we've got 12 players there, or 10 players in the offensive zone, 11 if you want to count the goalie. So we've got it all there. We're up there. We're in the position we need to get to. Now, do the next harder. I would argue it's easier. It seems to be harder. The reason I think it's easier is because it's a simple determination, a willingness, and just a want to, desire. Get to the front of the goal and stay there. Park your butt in front of the goal. Someone in the eyes of the goalie all the time. They're playing on the outside. They're willing to have the zone time that walks away with a 40-second shift that never involves the puck getting more than 6 feet off the boards. That can't be the case moving forward. You've gotten your zone entry. You're there. Now, do something with it. Defensemen, maybe they need to activate a little bit more. Maybe they need to be making the plays. You think about the couple of goals. Pietrangelo got underneath and deep into the zone and hurdles the one that's in front, and you take advantage of that one. Pietrangelo gets on the rush on 4-on-4, takes the shot, you get the goal on that one. Don't think that's repeatable, but maybe defensemen need to be a bigger part of it. Hanifin has a goal in this series. Maybe that has to be something that we look a bit more into, because simply relying on what has occurred and say, well, we started to play better. We got the zone time we wanted. The forecheck is coming along, doing the things that it needs to do. All of that may be occurring, but in the end, if it doesn't end up with points on the board, goals in the score column, what good is it? And at this point, it's not good. So now you have to say, all right, can that change? Or do we have to make other changes? And I would argue you probably have to make other changes. I don't think they're suddenly going to dominate in front of the goal against this team 3 games out of the next 5. I just don't. I think they can win 3 games out of the next 5. I don't think they're dead. I think the goalie, I think he'll be fine. They're going to put Hill back in. I think he'll be fine. I do worry because if it's not fine, then you're going to have to face multiple elimination games with question marks that you created yourself for absolutely no reason. I went over that, but I think it's going to be fine. I think he'll be all right. He'll go back in. We'll figure it out. We may be talking about it down the road. I hope we're talking about it in a series against LA or Edmonton. We got to get there first. I hope we're talking about it. Other than that, like defensively, simplify. I think they have to simplify. Like it doesn't seem like in this series that it's going to be all that difficult to, like, I don't think there's going to be 7-minute stretches where the Golden Knights can't get offensive zone time. And that's even with uncontrolled exits, because I still think they would get there. I still think eventually they're going to get through, because that is somewhere where the winger group is pretty good. Saad's good at getting the puck from point A to point B. Saad, I don't think, is a good scorer. I know he got some. I get it. But he also got cut from the Blues, who are maybe going to lose in the first round. Didn't need him. Playoff team said, no, we don't need him. Vegas says, we'll put him in the top 6. Like, that's a red flag. All right? And now you sit here and you say, well, where are the goals? He had a pretty good game in game 2, but the goals weren't there. The finishing wasn't there. Boldy's finishing. Kaprizov's finishing. Not everybody else is finishing. Can that happen? Yeah, I do think it can happen. You don't need everybody to score all at once. We don't need 14 goals in game 4. You don't. You need 3. When the Golden Knights score 3, they win. Last 2 games wouldn't have been enough, but they didn't get there. When they score 3, they win. Find a way to 3. Find a way to the first one, and then find a way to 3. I don't feel, I am not going to be mean here. I don't feel like Saad's about to pop off. I think you might get a goal. I think you might be able to get a situation where you get 1. But I don't think you're getting more than 1 in the next 4 games. Hopefully we're playing 4 games. We need to at least play 3, right? Got to go to at least 6 now. So that's that. Like, I'm interested now. What's Cassidy going to do? What is the plan? What are the changes that are made? Because simply sitting there and saying, we're getting the zone time, we're doing the thing that we thought before the series we needed to do. We just can't stop their best players, and we can't get to the front of the goal, and our best players don't do anything. I think you need to do something. And if he loses to John Hines, there's going to be questions. There's going to be massive questions because John Hines has never been beyond game 6. Well, guess what? He got it to game 6. He's at least to game 6. Second time in his career. Way to go. He might even get it to game 7 for the first time in his life. That's who we're up against here. We're also up against a Minnesota team that hasn't gotten out of the first round since I was in college, I think. It's been a while. So they're like, you're losing to a team that isn't used to this, that hasn't been here, that isn't a team. It's not like you're getting beat by Dallas like you did last year. You're supposed to win this series. You had a lot more wins than them. You're a lot more complete team than them. You're a lot older. You're a lot stronger. You should be deeper. They're not. They haven't been to this point. I'm interested. We'll see. We will see what happens. By the way, I'm here because Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling has sent me here. And that's why I am in Minnesota right now in this very log cabin looking place. Kind of a cool arena. It's kind of small. The ceilings are a little low. I'm tall. But it's a nice place. And I'm here because Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling has sent me. And I know that I've spent the last 47 minutes yapping and not talking about them, even though I should have. But I know that Jesse and Jessica, who own the thing, probably are like, yeah, keep yelling about what's going wrong and not talking about this. But I'm going to talk about it anyway because they paid for me to be here. Please, if you need any heating and cooling system service, or if you're thinking it's going to get hot, I hope my air conditioner doesn't break. Mine did actually last year. Luckily, I have them on speed dial. I have them. It was a Sunday. I had to wait till the next day. We got it. We fixed it up. No problem. It was an easy fix. Even though it seemed like it was going to be a bad fix, it was easy. Don't let that happen to you. Have them come out, get the pre-summer maintenance special for $50. They will come to your house and make sure that everything is good. That's vkdac.com. Go there. And, of course, the Jimmerson Law Firm sponsors every single Periscope that I do. You see the logo on there at all times. Please, if you ever need legal assistance, especially in family disputes, there is no better place to go than the Jimmerson Law Firm. All things considered, do I still believe the Golden Knights will win the series? I believe wholeheartedly the Golden Knights can win the series. I'm not like, I don't know that I'm fully on board saying they will. Before the series, I was pretty confident they would. I felt like they will. At this moment, I think there's enough here. There's enough history between what their coach has and their franchise has, and the fact that they haven't been in this situation before. They have been up 2-1 before, and they've actually lost. I'm pretty sure it's the last 2 times they've been up 2-1, which may have been the last 2 years. They're in a spot that they're not used to. The Golden Knights have been in this spot, not successfully actually, but they've been in a lot of different spots. They should not be razzled by, we're in trouble. Okay, they shouldn't. But the answers to what does it take, how are they going to find the goals, how is this going to go their way? It's not to say that I can't envision it happening. It's to say that it's going to be difficult to make it happen over and over and over again in the next, 5 games, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 games. We need 3 wins in 4 games. Is that right? Yeah. And when you put it that way, it's terrifying. You need 3 wins in 4 games. And probably you're going to have to do it in 7 because getting 3 wins in 3 games is going to be difficult. It is, especially with 2 of them going to have to come in this building. Can they get to the front? I don't know. I don't know that answer at the moment. I just don't. Thank you, Jamie, for this. Really appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat. Always appreciate those coming in as we do these. I don't know. Like, I've gone back and forth with this all season long. It just has been an issue in my head. They score over and over and over again. and they score 8 on opening night, and then they score throughout the remainder of the first couple of months. And then they have a little bit of a down month there in January, and I start yapping and yelling about it. And you're like, shut up, we're still 8th in the league or whatever. And then I'm like, yeah, but if you take out game 1, then they're actually 13th, and that's not good. And you're like, shut up, we can't take out game 1. Why would you do that? They're 8th. And then by the end of the season, you're like, well, you can't. If you take out any game, we're still going to be in the top 5. And I'm like, I know. That was a long rant to say, I've never bought that this team can score. And I don't know why I can't get off of it. And now here we are, 2 games in a row where they can't score. And they're not doing the things to generate the chances to score. And I never thought we would have Jack Eichel can't do anything. One of my biggest points in this series, one of the biggest things I said the entire series was they don't have an answer for Jack Eichel. I think they might. I don't really understand what it is. I still don't really understand what it is. I got to watch this game again. I'm going to watch it tomorrow again. I don't know. I don't understand why they don't have it. But they don't. This team scares me in the fact that I just don't know who to point to. 35 goals from Pavel Dorofeev. I don't think it's fair to sit here and say if Pavel doesn't score 3 times in the next 4 games, this team's cooked. That's not fair on Pavel. That shouldn't be fair on Pavel. I could say that about Eichel. I could say that about Stone. They both have Stanley Cup champions. They both have letters on their jersey. I can say that about those guys. Carlson had 9 goals this season. Now we expect him to all of a sudden be generating a goal a game? That's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. Hurdle, great season, started coming along at 5-on-5. Most of it's on the power play. Now all of a sudden, their entire focus, watch them kill penalties. All they care about is don't let that pass into Hurdle. And guess what? There's not other answers because the only a couple of times the puck has come across, either in the jam play, which didn't work, or the puck has come across to Pavel and he missed. He made the first one, but he's missed a couple now. And now he's probably thinking, uh-oh, what's going on here? Brandon Saad wasn't even on the team, got cut from another team because he couldn't score. Now we expect him to score. Brett Howden, yeah, he's got a couple. He's got 2 in this series. Gets the breakaway. Looked like he might have gotten a third. Is it realistic to ask for 30 goals from him, to ask for 4 goals in a series for him? Probably not. Look at what they're getting. They're not getting things down their lineup. They don't have a bunch of goals down their lineup. Yes, they got one from Rossi today. Sure. Okay. You got one from Foligno. You got one from, who was the other one? Zuccarello. But most of it, who else did they get one from today? Oh, Foligno got the empty netter today. Other than that, Kaprizov, Rossi, Boldy, Kaprizov, Foligno. Last game, Boldy. Their first game, Boldy. Next game, Boldy, Kaprizov, Bold. Like, they're not getting it. Their guys are doing it. So do I believe the Golden Knights can win? Yeah, because I've seen Jack Eichel be better than this. I've seen Jack Eichel dominate. I've seen Jack Eichel take steps and do things that all of a sudden he is better than everyone else. Hasn't happened so far in this series. I've seen Mark Stone do it. Hasn't happened in this series. I don't expect the defense to suddenly score a bunch of goals. I don't expect the bottom of the lineup to score a bunch of goals. I'm not sitting here saying I think Riley Smith needs one at even strength. Victor, maybe you'd like one. Also, first playoff opportunity for him. Hasn't been happening. So that's where, do I see a path for them to win the series? I do. Do I think they're going to win the series? I'm on the fence. I don't know. And that's part of it. 2 playoff games in a row. You lose 2 playoff games in a row. That doesn't happen to the Golden Knights a lot. Think back. Doesn't happen a lot. When you lose 2 playoff games in a row, the games that really matter against the same opponent in different buildings, that's where it's like, what do we do? What do we do now? Where does it go from here? I think they're going to win game 4. I really do. And I'm going to tell you this again tomorrow. I'm probably going to tell you this again on Saturday. I think they're going to win game 4. I've always thought they were going to get at least one here. This was the one I was a little scared about. I didn't know what it would feel like if they didn't get it. They're going to win. I think they're going to win game 4. I really do believe they're going to win game 4. But then from there, do you feel that comfortable that they're for sure going to win game 5 and 7? I don't. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they can. I hope we have to start worrying about the LA team that looks pretty damn good too. So that's where I'm at. Thanks again to the Jimmerson Law Firm sponsoring all of our Periscopes. Thanks to Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling, VKD AC, for sending me here. Thanks to all of the, like William Hill, for sponsoring us all year, of course. Thanks for all of you guys for listening late into the night. It's not nearly as late where you are. So Central Time sucks. It's a disaster. It's 12:46. What are we doing? Well, this is ridiculous. And then I probably got to get up in like 8 hours. I don't know. Said probably less. I don't know. Nonetheless, this Periscope is toast. That's it. That's all I've got. We're going to keep doing them after every single playoff game. I will continue to try and write. We're going to have articles tomorrow. We're going to have articles on Saturday. We're going to have stuff every single day as we continue to go on all the way through this playoff run that hopefully is not over in a few days. I'm not sure it will be. I still do have belief. This team's too good. They have too many good players. They've been here. They've done it. They're too good. I still do believe that they can't just go out like this. But Minnesota's pretty good. They're pretty good. They're better than what their record indicates. They're doing things in this series that they did not do in any of the 3 games against the Golden Knights. And they did actually do it in game 1, the game that the Golden Knights won. 3 games in, one team's better than the other. And it's not the team that we want to win. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. But we got a great coach. We got a great captain. We got a great superstar. We've got a great defense. We've got great guys going down the middle, right? That's all there. That's all still going to be there. There's still a chance. There's still a way. I think they're going to win game 4. We're going to be back here. A lot of things are going to change. We'll be back here 6 o'clock, something like that, local time here, 4 o'clock at home. We'll be talking about something much more exciting because for now, it's a little sad. It's a little dicey. I'm a little nervous. That's it. Good night.